We spoke about characteristic of existing intelligent tutoring systems. When looking at examples of ITs for language learning, we most often find those that have been developed for commercial purpose, and this is probably due to the high cost, the complexity of the design, implementation, and maintenance of these systems, and the multidisciplinary context in which they are built. There is two ITSs. Those are very interesting. First one is tutor, and second one tagarella. I don't know if I pronounced good like my English. A tutor used with several university level introductory courses of German, enabling the delivery of topical content taught activities related to the listening, reading and writing skill, grammar and vocabulary. And Tagarella based on the idea of intelligent and interactive workbook for learning Portuguese, used to supplement the existing pedagogical materials with a variety of activities such as reading, listening, refreshing, giving descriptions, doing class tasks, etc. And yes, the both systems are considered adaptive, which is evidenced in an individualized feedback message they use to the learners while trying to document their misconceptions and gaps in linguistic knowledge. Adaptive feature in both cases is enabled by the construction and maintenance of an elaborate student's model helped by a natural language processing unit to deal with evaluating learners' written production. These systems like eTutor or Tagarella, which really integrate several language skills and elements, are rather rare. Yes, it's not. There is not a lot of. There are really rather. They are rare. And I want to speak a little bit the architecture of the proposed adaptive learning e-learning system. I read an article and I put in a reference. There was very interesting. They explain what's the architecture and they give an example, and I want to give this example to you. The system we will describe in this section and which we are currently developing is an adaptive web-based e-learning system for learning English. I have to learn like maybe for my English. It has a twofold purpose. First one, identifying the level of language competence by employing an adaptive knowledge validation procedure. And second one, systematically supporting learning by guiding learners toward the learning domain towards higher proficiency levels. Is two purpose we will describe in this section, and I will pass this slide, but they explain really. I will put in this homework, but it's really explain what have to do language learner, and what is the interaction result products. It's very good, but I haven't time for explain everything for adaptive learning. Yes, for second model, we say domain in French, like field. domain model. The domain itself was designed by an English language expert and consists in two parts. First one, the organization portion which establishes the relationships between domain concept. There is SFF array. It means Common European Framework of Reference for Language with this domain concept. And second one, a database storing all learning content, including learning materials and test questions. It means we have an expert in English language, and this expert developed on the Sefer. And second one, we have a database storing with all of time the content, all of the content with learning materials and questions. Second one, learner model. What is our learner model? The learner model is database with up-to-date data concerning each learner, implemented as as a version of the overlay model. For each descriptor of the domain model, there is an entry in the learning model. We can say it's ready for an entry. Before the start learning model, we have to describe domain model and now who is learner. And besides a general learning profile, which includes information such as username and password, year of starting student, English, or type of finished secondary school, there is additional data concerning the quality and quantity of domain mastery and learner activity with this system. This is second. And third one, evaluation model. This model of the system has the task of analyzing users' interaction with the system, how you interact with this platform, with e-learning. Besides rating the correctness of activities, the model is concerned with monitoring other elements of interaction, such as time spent on an activity or number of attempts at a question or test item, which contributes to the higher accuracy and efficiency of the learner model. Besides influencing the learner model, data obtained dot evaluation is sent to the controller model, we will see, so that a feedback message about the completed activities may be delivered to the learner to reinforce his or her linguistic knowledge. For evaluate and yes, learner model initialization model. There is three steps here. First one, solve the problem. In order to solve the problem of initial lack of knowledge about a new learner in the system, we have developed we will see, I see we, but not me. We have developed a procedure for determining learners' characteristic and initializing the values in the learner model. They developed a procedure for characteristic and for initializing the values for all times for learner model. And second one, employing an adaptive system. What is the employing adaptive system? Employing an adaptive testing procedure contributes to the efficiency of the e-learning system, as each learner is not presented with all the items constructed for the test, which is the case in traditional tests, but research only a subset of the item. And third one, correctness of the response. If you don't correct or not. Test items are generated one by one, and the choice of the next item to be presented depends on the correctness of the response to the previous item. Items are presented to the learner until the finishing condition is met, until the proficiency level for each language skill has been determined with particular certainty. This is for really three steps for learner model, how he or she can initialize this model. And instructional model is very important. The role in this model, the yes, the rule are activated according to the values stored in the learner model, and instructional model represents the central point of the system and the overall educational process as it defines the logic behind the system behavior. It's very interesting because it's not really easy to define this logic behind the system. The model is a repository of heuristic rules about teaching practice so as to approximate systems behavior to that of real teachers and their responsibilities in the language classroom. Activation of a certain rules, the controller model is able to choose the type of activity that follows. It's very, this is, we can say this is really the center, all of adaptive learning. This is center the steps, this model is very important. And for finished, controller model. This model is the operational heart of the system. Is we can say is really important, but more than instructional, because if we don't have control model, we can't have instructional model. For that, it's really heart of the system. Its main task is to coordinate the work of the entire adaptive system, checking the values stored in the above discussed models, taking responsibility for their selection and application of rules, requesting appropriate teaching learning materials from the database and sending them for presentation to the learner via user interface. Furthermore, the model deals with possible learner regress for learning when learners express their wish or need for learning particular content. In summarize, the model analyzes the current state of learner knowledge and makes decisions about subsequent activities with the aim of reaching higher language proficiency level. And conclusion, in this assignment, I gave a general description of the architecture of an adaptive e-learning system for language learning. This development of the system is aimed at dealing with two main issues. First one, devising a way of determining the current level of general language proficiency for each learner, and second one, offering learners structured guidance toward the learning domain and helping them reach higher proficiency levels. And for finish, there is my reference. It was really interesting. This I will say this one. I learned a lot of things with Slaju, Anja, Kowajic, Pozidar, Go, and Igor. There was very interesting like article, and there is this one, and there is this one. We will we will, yes, thank you so much, and we will, thank you.